Welcome back to Noir Alley, home away from home for desperate loners and lovers on the lam. I'm Eddie Muller, boat jockey on the river Styx. Prepare yourself for the coming storm. The perfect noir storm, that is, which is what I offer you today. Raw Deal, released by Eagle Lion Pictures in 1948, began life as a bad piece of pulp fiction called Corkscrew Alley, but it ended up morphing into a movie that is thematically, iconographically, and stylistically one of the greatest examples of the artistic movement we now call film noir. It's also a movie that barely got made. When the producers submitted the script to the Production Code Office for approval, as was required of every production back in the day, Chief Censor Joe Breen called the script completely and utterly unacceptable under the provisions of the Production Code. A motion picture developed from this screenplay could not be approved. Breen declared that the script had a low moral tone and branded it a sordid story of crime, immorality, brutality, gruesomeness, illicit sex, and sex perversion, without the slightest suggestion of any compensating moral values whatsoever. Breen's backlash was extreme, even for the PCA. He was basically saying, don't make this movie. But the production team at upstart Eagle Lion, particularly production chief Brian Foy and independent producer Eddie Small, were shrewd operators. They hired Joseph Breen Jr., son of the PCA boss, as a story editor. Jr. assured his dad the script of Raw Deal would be changed to accommodate all of the PCA's objections. The studio then made exactly the picture it wanted. Writer John C. Higgins, cinematographer John Alton, and director Anthony Mann had put Eagle Lion in the black with their previous film, 1947's T-Men, and the studio rallied around this team, eager to see what they would conjure next. The source material may have been crummy, but it had an elemental appeal, and from it Higgins crafted a relentless story featuring archetypal characters and situations. I'll go so far as to call this mythological noir, a nocturnal fantasia of pure pulp. Mann and Alton took Higgins' script and distilled it into a deeply satisfying roux, one that drew on 2 decades of fermented hard-boiled tropes. A couple of fresh twists give the picture even more spice. The bad girl, redoubtable Claire Trevor, and the good girl, radiant Marcia Hunt, wage war for the soul of homme fatale Dennis O'Keefe, putting a gender spin on the usual triangle. And this time, the omnipresent voiceover is delivered breathlessly by Trevor, one of the few times a woman narrates a noir.
He's never really told me he loved me. Funny how that keeps coming back now.
It's only fitting this honor goes to Claire Trevor, who has an exalted place in the noir pantheon. From Dead End through Key Largo, she can lay claim to being the genre's grande dame. This film was a change of pace for her, at least sartorially. Typically, Trevor had dozens of costume changes, all complemented by a dazzling array of elaborate hats. Check out her wardrobe in Murder My Sweet, Crack Up, and Born to Kill. There's got to be 30 costume changes just in those 3 pictures. But here, as a woman on the lam, she's stuck in one dress for the entire picture. And it was probably her own, given the budgets at Eagle Lion. Another unusual aspect of Raw Deal is its score. Composer Paul Sawtelle composed it with a theremin, more commonly used in horror and sci-fi scores. It's an electronic instrument in which the frequency and amplitude of sound is controlled by the player's hands, which never come in contact with the instrument. Something about this sound, matched to John Alton's incredible imagery, it makes Raw Deal unique and unforgettable. When he was making B films, Anthony Mann would find the 2 or 3 scenes in a script where he could really show off his talent and maybe get promoted to bigger budget films. He'd shoot those sequences first, applying everything in his artistic playbook to create extraordinary set pieces. The rest of the script he'd shoot as efficiently and economically as possible. Raw Deal is the first Anthony Mann movie that is one sensational scene after another. No passage work, no dead space. It is, start to finish, Mann's first masterpiece. From 1948, here is Raw Deal.